Well, let's turn our attention to Turkey-EU relations. In recent times, there have been many that have said that Turkish foreign policy is shifting away from a Euro-Atlantic focus under the current government. Do you agree with that analysis?
Well, I think that what Turkey is doing now is to get more in the region in which Turkey belongs in a more direct manner. And this policy of strategic depth and zero problems with the neighbors, I think is a reasonable policy. But I don't think that signifies that they are parting with the other allies that Turkey has had for many years. And from the European Union point of view, I would like to say that that neighborhood of Turkey is also our neighborhood. Therefore, to cooperate with Turkey and Turkey cooperating with us, I think will be beneficial for the solution of the problems that still are in that region. And the hopes also, because in the last period of time we have seen changes that call for hope and from optimism.
Dr. Solana, one of the greatest obstacles to Turkish accession to the European Union is the Cyprus issue, of course. You said in your speech today that the Turkish side had displayed the utmost effort in trying to find a resolution to the Cyprus problem. Where do the sides go from here?
Well, I think that Turkey did very well when they, by referendum, accepted the plan that was presented by the Secretary General of the United Nations. Unfortunately, it was not done by the other side. But having said that, Cyprus is now a member of the European Union, and I think to resolve that problem is very important. I mean, this is not a terrible problem in the sense that there are no casualties, people are not fighting. On the contrary, people are talking, people are trying to live together, but it's a difficult problem to be resolved. And still everybody has to make an effort. Turkey is the strongest part in that sense, and I think that if they could do a little move in the direction, that will simplify a lot the difficulties to resolve it.
Well, didn't you think at the time that admitting a country that's party to a 30-40-year-old territorial dispute would in fact become a problem, not least for Turkey?
Well, it's too late to look back into that, but probably it was not the wisest thing that has been done. Must have been better, or could have been better, to do probably the referendum before it was done, and give more time so that it could have come out right. And not have the situation which is strange now, that an island which is not common has some divisions inside, and still is part of the European Union, with all the complications that creates.
So the other side of the issue is the reform process in Turkey, of course. There are many who say that the political will for the reform process has slowed in Turkey, that this has stalled. Do you agree with that analysis?
Well, I don't think so. I don't think that it's stalled. I would like to see it continuing with the same rhythm and momentum than before. That is beneficial for everybody. My argument is that I would like very much to see Turkey as a member of the European Union. I know that there are questions and doubts now among the society or parts of the society in Turkey, but I will continue fighting for that, because that will be beneficial to my mind, both to Turkey and to the European Union.
What about enlargement fatigue in the European Union? I mean, Turkey is a large country with 70 million population, and you know the economic problems within the Union. What about enlargement fatigue for the European Union?
Well, the process of enlargement has been growing in the last years, but I think that the economic crisis is the most difficult thing now. The manner in which the United States and the European Union have lived the economic crisis has been different from other countries. At the beginning, it was thought that the economic crisis will affect everybody in the same level, but at the end, the Western countries have had, or the most developed countries have suffered more than the emerging countries that keep on growing at levels that for us are very difficult to achieve now. But this will not be forever. I think that there will be a recuperation in the economies of the European Union, also in the United States, and that problem solved. I think that the change in the mood of the people in these countries will be beneficial for opening the doors to Turkey and to other countries into the European Union.
One of the concerns, sir, that have been stated in Turkey is that some of those who oppose Turkish accession cite the cultural differences between Turkey and Europeans. What's your thought on that? How serious of an issue is that?
Well, I think that for some that may be a big issue, but for many others it will not be a big issue. I think that the European Union is defined, or could be defined, like the place where the respect for diversity, for cultural diversity, is accepted from the very, very beginning. I think diversity, if I may play with the words, diversity is our destiny. Therefore, that at the end of the day, it will not be a problem for the incorporation of Turkey into the European Union.
Dr. Solana, in terms of civil-military relations in Turkey, this is an important issue. I want to take your reading on the Ergenekon investigation in Turkey in terms of alleged coup plots and the authorities going against this. What's your understanding of this issue?
Well, I think that Turkey has had the military role in the social arena playing too much of an important role. I come from Spain, I know what that means, and I think that to put the armed forces in the right place, that means where they should be, which is the security of the country, but not in the political arena. That is a step in the right direction to construct a democracy. But at the same time, I think the society which is modern, which is democratic, like Turkey would like to be and it likes to be, I think that the secularism is very, very important. To have secular societies, I think is very, very important.
One of the most important aspects of a free and democratic society is obviously freedom of the press. There are recent concerns on this issue in Turkey that freedom of the press is declining, that freedom of expression is declining. The Turkish Journalists Union says that there are 67 journalists in jail in Turkey today. Are you concerned, more so recently, with freedom of the press issues in Turkey?
Of course, I am concerned, that everybody should be concerned about having journalists in jail. Freedom of the press is very difficult for the governments to give all the freedom that should be given. But I think that people deserve to have all the information which is fair in a free manner, and to have the possibility to respond to information which is wrongly given. But that is a very fundamental right in a democracy, freedom of the press.
The other issue which is coming onto our attention, especially these days, is the issue of freedom of the internet. There are moves in Turkey today to ban websites that contain certain words, even mundane words in their URLs. There are moves to introduce internet filters, etc. This is another aspect of freedom of expression, is it not?
Yeah, when I talked about freedom of the press, I should have said freedom of expression, because today the press, the written press, is only a minor part of the capacity that a human being has to express and to communicate with others today.
Dr. Solana, you have been a great proponent of Turkish accession. You said in your speech today that you stand behind the signature in 1999, and you said you would continue to fight for this. You said it a moment ago as well. Is Javier Solana hopeful for Turkish accession to the European Union?
Yes, I'm hopeful. I don't think this is going to take place in 24 hours. It will be a process, but I think that the process of the train should arrive to the right station, and the right station is Brussels.
Dr. Solana, one of the things that we look at in the future is whether future enlargement in the European Union would be subject to a referendum. In this case, the image of Turkey amongst the Europeans is important. Are there things that Turkey could do to reinforce its image amongst European populations?
I think that the best manner in which we both, Europe and Turkey and Europe, do have to increase their visibility versus the other and the respect versus the other is to begin working in common projects. I think that now we have in the Middle East, in the large Middle East, the possibility of doing things together, and that will be without any doubt the best form of increasing the visibility, as I said, for the others, and also the respect. And these things, to my mind, are fundamental.
You mentioned in your speech today one of the biggest problems was the fact that the chapters that were being opened for negotiations were not being closed, and that is, of course, the biggest problem. In tangible terms, what could be done to improve and further the process, the technical process?
I think that the technical part, it has gone through a more slow pace due also to the economic crisis in which everything has been disturbed by the time that has been placed on trying to solve the problems that the European Union and member states do have with the economic crisis. I think and I hope that during this semester, during the Hungarian presidency, another chapter will be open, probably the chapter of competition, and the process will recuperate the momentum that it will be moving faster than it used to be in the year 2010.
Final question, Dr. Solana. Again, in terms of the fact that you were NATO Secretary General, there had been much debate about NATO involvement in Libya. Did you think that under the current changing times that NATO should have played a role in Libya?
Well, if you remember, the whole thing started with a UN Security Council resolution that asked the member states of the United Nations to do the utmost under Chapter 8 to stop the violence against civilian people. And days after that, in order to organize a headquarters with the member states that were participating, the NATO took the responsibility to be the coordinator of that action. I think that is what we had available as the best manner to be able to coordinate all the efforts. And so I have now no objection to NATO taking that role. That doesn't mean that NATO is going to be acting everywhere as a world policeman or something like that we will oppose very much myself. But when it's a resolution of that type, and several countries do want to participate, and many of them are part of NATO, to a certain extent it's normal that the headquarters that controls the operation is a NATO headquarters.
Dr. Javier Solana, former European Union High Representative, thank you so very much for your time and insight, sir.
Thank you very much for you.
Thank you.